Hello, welcome to Capital Sensei. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most practical and influential books for anyone wanting to get into real estate. The book on rental property investing by Brandon Turner of Bigger Pockets. We'll unpack the core strategies, from understanding why you should even consider real estate and the 4 ways it builds wealth, to creating a solid plan, finding incredible deals when others can't, and finally, managing your properties like a true professional. This is the roadmap. And as always, we try our best to answer questions and get a conversation going in the comments section. So, if you have a question, a story about your own investing journey, or even a specific challenge you're facing, share it down below. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear, and that's how we all learn and grow together. Let's start with the most important question Brandon Turner asks, and it's one you have to answer for yourself before you even look at a single property. Why? Why do you want to invest in real estate? For some, it's about quitting a job they hate. For others, it's about building a legacy for their children, or achieving a certain level of financial freedom to travel the world. This why is your North Star. It's the fuel you'll burn on those late nights when you're analyzing deals, or the motivation you'll need when a tenant calls with a problem at 6 in the morning. Without a powerful why, the first obstacle will feel like an insurmountable wall. But with one, it's just a hurdle you need to clear on the way to your goal. So before you get into the numbers and the strategies, take some time to really define what you're trying to achieve. Write it down. Make it real. It's the foundation upon which your entire investing career will be built. It's the difference between just driving and having a destination plugged into your GPS. Once your motivation is crystal clear, you need to understand how this vehicle, rental property investing, actually works. It's not just about collecting rent. Turner breaks it down into 4 distinct, powerful wealth generators that work together. Think of it like a 4-cylinder engine, with each cylinder providing a different kind of power to move you forward financially. The first and most obvious is cash flow. This is the money left over each month after you've collected the rent and paid all the bills associated with the property. This includes your mortgage payment, taxes, insurance, a budget for repairs, and maybe a property management fee. Whatever is left is your monthly profit. It's the paycheck your property sends you for being its owner. While some people chase massive appreciation, Turner emphasizes that strong, consistent cash flow is the bedrock of a stable rental portfolio. It's what keeps you in the game, paying the bills month after month, regardless of what the broader market is doing. It's your financial defense. The second wealth generator is appreciation. This is the increase in the property's value over time. There are 2 flavors here. First, there's market appreciation, which is like a rising tide lifting all boats. As the neighborhood improves, as inflation happens, and as demand in the area increases, the value of your property naturally goes up without you doing a thing. You just have to be patient and own property in a decent, growing area. Then there's the more active kind, forced appreciation. This is where you, the investor, take direct action to increase the property's value. Maybe you finish an unfinished basement to add a legal bedroom. Perhaps you update a dated kitchen and bathroom. You could even add a deck or improve the landscaping. By making smart, cost-effective improvements, you are literally forcing the value of your asset to go up, creating instant equity. This is where you can really accelerate your wealth building. The third wealth generator is one that works silently in the background, but it's incredibly powerful. Loan paydown, or amortization. When you have a mortgage on your property, a portion of every single rent payment you collect goes towards paying down that loan. And who's making that rent payment? Your tenant. So every single month, your tenant is buying the property for you, little by little. At the beginning of a 30-year loan, more of the payment goes to interest. But as time goes on, more and more goes to the principal. You're building equity, the difference between what the property is worth and what you owe on it, automatically. It's like having a dedicated employee whose only job is to reduce your debt, and their salary is paid entirely by someone else. Over the course of 30 years, your tenants will have paid off your entire mortgage, leaving you with a free and clear asset that is likely worth multiples of what you originally paid for it. It's an almost magical process. And finally, the fourth wealth generator, the tax benefits. This is the one that often seems the most confusing to newcomers, but it's a massive advantage that the government essentially gives you for providing housing. You can deduct nearly all the expenses associated with your rental property, like the mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, repairs, and management fees. This lowers your taxable income. But the real superstar of tax benefits is depreciation. The IRS allows you to deduct a portion of your property's value from your taxes each year, under the assumption that the building is wearing out over time. For residential property, you can depreciate the value of the building, not the land, over 27.5 years. The beautiful irony here is that while the government lets you claim this loss on paper, your property is very likely appreciating in real-world value. It's a phantom expense that can significantly reduce or even eliminate the income tax you owe on your cash flow. So, you have these four wealth generators firing on all cylinders: cash flow for monthly income, appreciation for long-term growth, loan paydown building your equity, and tax benefits sheltering your gains. This multifaceted approach is why real estate is such a robust vehicle for building wealth. It doesn't rely on just one thing to work. It's a diversified strategy within a single asset class. Now that you understand the why and the how, it's time to get practical. Turner insists that you can't just wander into the market and start looking at houses. That's a recipe for disaster. You need a plan, a written, concrete, specific plan that acts as your filter for every potential deal you see. Think of it like a very specific shopping list. You wouldn't go to the grocery store starving and without a list, right? You'd come back with a cart full of junk food and nothing for dinner. It's the same with real estate. Your plan should clearly define your investment criteria. What type of property are you looking for? A single-family home? A duplex? Or a fourplex? What specific neighborhoods or cities will you invest in, and why? What's your maximum purchase price? What are your minimum requirements for cash flow and cash-on-cash return? For example, your plan might state, I will only buy duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes in B-class neighborhoods in Springfield for under $250,000 that generate at least $300 in monthly cash flow per unit. Having these criteria written down does two things. First, it saves you an enormous amount of time by allowing you to instantly discard deals that don't fit. You won't waste hours analyzing a single-family home across the state if it's not in your plan. Second, it protects you from making emotional decisions. When you find a house with a beautiful kitchen, but it doesn't meet your cash flow numbers, your plan forces you to be disciplined and walk away. It's your business plan, and successful businesses follow a plan. Of course, a plan is useless if you don't have the money to execute it. This is the part where many potential investors get intimidated and stop. Financing. but the book lays out a whole menu of options, showing that there's more than one way to fund a deal. The most common route is a conventional mortgage from a bank. For an investment property, you'll typically need a down payment of 20 to 25% and a good credit score. It's straightforward, but that large down payment can be a barrier. That's where other strategies come in. One of the most powerful for beginners is what's known as house hacking. This involves buying a small, multi-family property, like a duplex or a fourplex, with a low down payment owner-occupant loan, such as an FHA loan, which only requires 3.5% down. You live in one of the units and rent out the others. The rent from your tenants can cover most or even all of your mortgage payment. You get to live for free or close to it while building equity and learning the landlording business firsthand. It's an incredible launching pad. Beyond conventional and FHA loans, there are other tools in the chest. VA loans for military members and veterans allow for the purchase of a property with 0% down, which is an unbelievable advantage. There are also portfolio lenders, which are often smaller, local banks or credit unions that don't sell their loans on the secondary market. They keep the loans in-house, which means they can be more flexible with their lending criteria, which is great for investors who might not fit into the perfect conventional box. And then there's the world of creative financing. This is where you can really get deals done that others can't. You might find a seller who owns their property free and clear and is willing to offer you seller financing. In this case, the seller acts as the bank. You pay them a down payment, and then you make monthly mortgage payments directly to them. This can open up deals with sellers who want to create a steady income stream for themselves in retirement. You can also explore partnerships, where you bring the deal and the management skills, and a partner brings the cash for the down payment. Or you could use hard money or private money lenders. These are short-term, high-interest loans that are great for buying a property that needs a lot of work, a fix and flip, or what's known in the community as the BRRRR method, which stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. You use the hard money to buy and fix the property quickly, then refinance with a traditional bank once it's stabilized and rented out. The point is, a lack of a 25% down payment in your checking account does not mean you are locked out of the game. It just means you need to get more educated and more creative. There is almost always a way to finance a good deal if you know where to look and who to ask. With your plan in hand and an understanding of your financing options, it's time for the exciting part, the hunt for a great deal. Brandon Turner uses a powerful analogy for this process, the deal funnel. Imagine a large funnel. At the wide top, you pour in all the potential leads and properties you come across. As they move down the funnel, they go through various stages of analysis and filtering, and only the very best, most profitable deals make it out the narrow bottom. Your job as an investor is to build a massive funnel. You need to be looking at 100 properties to analyze 10, to make offers on 3, to get 1 accepted. Most people fail because their funnel is too small. They look at 3 houses on Zillow, get discouraged, and quit. To find great deals, you have to generate a lot of leads. This can come from various sources. The multiple listing service, or MLS, through a real estate agent. Driving through neighborhoods looking for distressed properties, or what's called driving for dollars. You can also send direct mail to absentee owners. Network with wholesalers who specialize in finding off-market deals, or even tell everyone you know, your friends, your family, your dentist, that you are looking to buy an investment property. You never know where your next lead will come from. The key is to make lead generation a consistent habit, not something you do once in a while. It's about building systems to keep that funnel full. As leads enter your funnel, The next stage is analysis. You need a quick way to vet deals so you're not wasting time on duds. This is where Turner introduces some brilliant rules of thumb. The most famous is the 50% rule. This rule states that you can quickly estimate that 50% of your gross scheduled rent will be consumed by all operating expenses, not including the mortgage payment. So, if a property rents for $2,000 a month, you can estimate that $1,000 will go towards things like taxes, insurance, vacancy, repairs, and maintenance. So, your calculation is simple. Rent minus 50% for expenses minus your monthly mortgage payment. Does that leave you with a positive number? If the answer is yes, the deal is worth a closer look. If it's negative, you can probably discard it and move on. This isn't a substitute for a detailed analysis, but it's an incredibly effective first-pass filter to save you time. Another quick one is the 1% rule, which suggests a property should rent for at least 1% of its purchase price per month. A $100,000 house should rent for at least $1,000 a month. Once a property passes these initial tests, you dig deeper. You do a full analysis, getting real numbers for taxes, calculating an accurate insurance quote, and creating realistic budgets for capital expenditures, the big-ticket items like a new roof or a new furnace, and for maintenance. Turner provides detailed spreadsheets and a simple four-square method to analyze a deal on a single sheet of paper, looking at income, expenses, cash flow, and return on investment. This is where you get serious. The most important metric he focuses on is the cash-on-cash return. This tells you how hard your money is working for you. The formula is your annual pre-tax cash flow divided by the total amount of cash you put into the deal. If you invest $50,000 of your own cash for the down payment and closing costs, and the property generates $5,000 in cash flow in the first year, your cash-on-cash return is 10%. This is a far more useful metric than just looking at the total cash flow, because it measures the efficiency of your invested capital. After analyzing dozens of properties, you'll eventually find one that looks like a winner. It meets all your criteria. The numbers work. Now it's time to make an offer. This part can be nerve-wracking, but it's a learned skill. Your offer is more than just a price. It's a package of terms. A lower price with favorable terms can be better than a higher price with bad terms. The most important parts of your offer, besides the price, are your contingencies. Contingencies are clauses that allow you to legally back out of the contract without penalty if certain conditions aren't met. Think of them as your escape hatches. The most common are the inspection contingency, which gives you time to have a professional inspect the property for defects. The financing contingency, which lets you out if you can't secure a loan. And the appraisal contingency, which protects you if the property appraises for less than your offer price. Never ever waive these as a new investor. They are your safety net. Once your offer is accepted, you enter the due diligence period. This is your chance to verify everything the seller has claimed and to uncover any hidden problems. You'll hire a professional home inspector to go through the property with a fine-tooth comb. They will give you a detailed report on the condition of the roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical systems, and everything in between. This report is not just a list of problems, it's a powerful negotiation tool. If the inspection reveals that the furnace is on its last legs and will cost $5,000 to replace, you can go back to the seller and renegotiate. You can ask for a $5,000 price reduction, or ask them to replace the furnace before closing. During due diligence, you'll also verify all the financial information. If you're buying a property with tenants already in it, you need to see copies of the leases and proof of the rent payments. You need to verify the property tax records and the seller's utility bills. Trust, but verify. This is where you can avoid buying a catastrophic money pit. Finally, after all the analysis, negotiation, and due diligence, you reach the closing table. You sign a mountain of paperwork. The funds are transferred, and you get the keys. Congratulations, you are now a real estate investor. But as Turner makes clear, the work isn't over. In many ways, it's just beginning. Now, you have to manage your asset. Now, you have to be a landlord. This leads to a critical decision. Should you manage the property yourself or hire a professional property manager? There are strong arguments for both. Managing it yourself saves you the management fee, which is typically 8 to 12% of the monthly rent. This increases your cash flow. It also forces you to learn the business from the ground up. You'll learn how to screen tenants, handle maintenance calls, and understand the legalities of your local rental market. Brandon Turner is a big advocate for self-managing your first 1 or 2 properties for this very reason. However, self-management costs you something incredibly valuable: your time. And it can add a lot of stress to your life. A professional property manager handles all the day-to-day headaches. They market the property, screen potential tenants, sign the leases, collect the rent, and coordinate all the maintenance and repairs. They are the buffer between you and the tenants. This frees you up to focus on what you should be doing as an investor: finding the next deal. For many, especially those investing out of state or looking to scale a large portfolio, a good property manager is absolutely essential. Whether you self-manage or hire a pro, the single most important factor for your success as a landlord is finding great tenants. A great tenant who pays on time and takes care of the property can make landlording a dream. A bad tenant can be a financial and emotional nightmare, costing you thousands in lost rent, legal fees, and property damage. This is why having a rigorous, systematic screening process is non-negotiable. Your screening process should be a funnel, just like your deal-finding process. It starts with a pre-screening conversation on the phone to weed out people who are obviously not a good fit. Then, every adult who will be living in the property must fill out a detailed application. With their permission, you then run a full background check, which includes a credit report, a nationwide criminal history search, and most importantly, a nationwide eviction search. A past eviction is a massive red flag. You must also verify their income to ensure they can comfortably afford the rent. A good rule of thumb is that their gross monthly income should be at least 3 times the monthly rent. And finally, and this is a step many landlords skip, you must call their current and previous landlords. Ask them directly. Did they pay rent on time? Did they cause any damage? Did they give proper notice? And would you rent to them again? The answer to that last question is pure gold. By being thorough and consistent with your screening, you dramatically increase your chances of placing a high-quality tenant. Finally, the book stresses the importance of running your rental properties like a business, not a hobby. This means creating systems for everything. You should have a system for how you collect rent. Online payments are best. You should have a system for how tenants submit maintenance requests. You should have a clear move-in and move-out procedure with detailed checklists and photos. You need a solid lease agreement that complies with all local and state laws. When you have systems in place, you're no longer just reacting to problems. You are proactively managing your business. It reduces your stress, ensures you're treating all tenants fairly and consistently, which is crucial for avoiding fair housing complaints, and it makes your business scalable. You can't grow an empire if every little task depends on you personally reinventing the wheel. Think of McDonald's. They can operate thousands of stores efficiently because they have a system for everything. You need to be the Ray Kroc of your own small rental business. So that is the essence of Brandon Turner's The Book on Rental Property Investing. It's a journey that starts with defining your personal why. It then moves to understanding the 4 powerful wealth generators that make real estate so effective. From there, you build a solid, written plan and learn the various ways to finance your deals. Then, you build a massive deal-finding funnel, learn to analyze properties like a pro, and navigate the process of making offers and closing the deal. And finally, you embrace your role as a business owner, mastering the art of property management and tenant screening. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a detailed, practical, and proven roadmap. It shows that with education, a solid plan, consistent action, and a willingness to learn from your mistakes, building significant wealth through rental properties is not just a dream for a select few. It is an achievable goal for anyone willing to do the work.